When it comes to money mindset and spending habits, the wealthy have a distinct approach that helps them maintain and increase their wealth while still indulging in life's luxuries. Here's the good news for you. You can adopt this mindset too, so you can become wealthier while also spending money on fun experiences, buying cool stuff, and earning money from various income streams. Contrary to the rich, the poor and middle class have their own set of behaviors and beliefs, but surprisingly, the three aren't all that different from each other. My name is Chris, and I help teach people about money, personal finance, and investing. If you're interested in improving your financial future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this video is helpful. First up, we have the poor. For them, money is tight, and they're just trying to get by, but their income is only part of the problem. When they do have a little extra cash, they often spend it on trinkets, small, cheap things that bring a small bit of joy in the day-to-day. These are things that people buy that provide pleasure for perhaps a minute or two, an hour, or maybe even a day, but the happiness derived from these items is extremely short-lived. Making matters worse, these junk items are commonly things that make life worse, like in regards to health. For example, buying cigarettes, unhealthy drinks, and junk food. These things aren't necessarily costly on their own, but the problem is people make it a habit to buy these items routinely, often right after they get paid, prioritizing them over other more serious expenses, like safe, reliable transportation and a comfortable home. The problem is, buying trinkets doesn't really help them get ahead financially. It's like a short-term dopamine boost that doesn't address any long-standing problems, and the cycle repeats itself with each pay period. The worst part is that these people often have no clue as to where they spent all of their money. To put it straight, it was aimlessly wasted on many small purchases, including snacks at the gas station and other impulse buys. Next, there's the middle class. They're not struggling like the poor, but they're not super wealthy either. For them, money is about enjoying life and showing off a bit. They like to buy toys, fancy gadgets, nice clothes, maybe a flashy car, mostly depreciating assets. These things make them feel good and impress their friends, but here's the thing, toys don't last. They're fun for a while, but the wow factor is short-lived, which only leads them to chase the next thrill. Unfortunately, the financial setback from many of these purchases is not as short-lived as the satisfaction they provided. These toys hold the middle class back from reaching their financial goals because they spend too much on stuff that doesn't really matter in the long run. They often use debt to buy these items, meaning they really can't afford them, but they're enticed by easy credit, mortgages, car payments, and credit card debt, and before you know it, they're headed to work 5 days a week, 50 weeks per year, just to make those minimum payments. They were so caught up in spending money, they piled on monthly payment after monthly payment until they were maxed out. This is a cycle the middle class becomes stuck in. They might dabble in investing through avenues like a 401k, but it typically doesn't top their list of financial priorities, as the little they contribute sure doesn't hold the key to substantial wealth accumulation. Instead, their focus often shifts towards conspicuous consumption, a desire to acquire items that project an image of affluence and success, even if it means stretching their finances thin and drowning in monthly payments. This penchant for living beyond their means can lead to a relentless cycle of working just to keep up with financial obligations, with each paycheck earmarked for bill payments rather than meaningful endeavors. Consequently, the middle class finds themselves tethered to the daily grind, sacrificing their time and energy to make sure their bills are covered, rather than pursuing avenues that could lead to long-term financial security and prosperity. They fail to realize that the junk they're buying is basically meaningless. These items might provide joy for a few moments or a few days after they make the purchase, but the joy from these items is quickly depleted. At this point, all they're left with is the financial scar, and in many cases, debt that will be owed for years to come. They're too busy stuck in the same cycle trying to keep up with their bills to realize this. Finally, we have the rich. They're the ones who have figured out how to make money work for them, and it wasn't all luck. For them, money isn't just about buying stuff. It's about making more money, not necessarily so they can become ultra-rich, but so that they can have a continuous stream of passive income, so working becomes an option. They focus on acquiring assets, things like investments, businesses, and property that will grow in value over time. Instead of spending all their cash on things that lose value, they put it into things that make them even more money. It's like they're playing a different game altogether. and it's one that leads to lasting wealth and financial security. The rich do like to spend money, just not in the same way the poor and middle class do. They'd rather spend on experiences and stuff that brings real joy instead of trying to keep up appearances or show off. Rich people aren't into spending just to show off or to spite someone they don't like. They're more about buying things that last and actually make them happy, rather than just flashy stuff. This includes things like family vacations that provide a lifetime of priceless memories, or high-quality clothing that will last for decades. Plus, they're not big on using credit to buy stuff before they have the cash. Instead, they put their money into things that will grow in value. They focus on building up assets that bring in money without them having to work for it. Like instead of jumping to finance a new car, they invest in stocks until the dividends can cover the loan payments. So, their priorities are completely different when it comes to things they like to spend money on, and how they're funding these purchases is also much different. Here are a few basic rules you should consider implementing in your life if you want to adopt the mindset of the rich and avoid being stuck in the grind with your head down. Put your money into things that will grow over time and produce income, which will ultimately be used to purchase fun things. Even if it feels like it'll take ages to see results, you'll be happy with the outcome sooner than you might expect. The money from these investments will cover your bills. But remember, this approach needs some patience as you focus on the long term. Instead of giving in to the temptation of quick credit to buy something now, be willing to wait. After all, what are you really sacrificing besides buying things you'll regret? Start by saving 10 to 15% of what you earn and try to bump it up whenever possible. When you get a raise, don't rush to spend it on a new car payment. Put that extra cash into your investments instead. This way, you're investing in yourself and your future. It's a great way to kickstart your investment journey and start seeing results sooner rather than later. Refrain from making purchases using borrowed money. Instead, consider borrowing only for items within your financial means to purchase outright. To align with the wealthy mindset, only borrow money where it makes sound financial sense, rather than relying on it out of sheer necessity or lack of patience. As you can see, there are some major distinctions from the mindset of the poor, middle class, and the rich. A behavioral shift is sometimes all that's needed to get to a place of financial success, but first, you must realize what keeps these folks in the poor and middle class before you become too busy yourself mimicking that behavior. In the end, each group has its own way of thinking about money. Whether you're buying trinkets, toys, or assets, the key is to think about what you really want out of your money and how you can use it to build the life you want. Get out of the rat race and begin to think like the wealthy. This will allow you to enjoy the best of both worlds, income to support your lifestyle, and the things that make life fun.